Hi, Arabelle. Thanks for being here, everyone. While we wait for other people to join, Fernando's here. Hi. You guys can, Kins is here. Hi. Very good. If you want to type any questions that you have for right now, please go ahead and I can start answering questions as we wait for more people to come. There might not be a lot of people since it's morning, since it's optional. Okay. How's everyone doing? Have you had any other live stream kind of experiments with your other professors yet? Hi, Olivia, welcome. Good morning. First live stream. Okay. So we'll start our real class on Thursday, but today will just be sort of a time. This is the first. Okay. This will be a time for us to sort of experiment with what this will be like. Okay, Zoom. I know a lot of people are experimenting with Zoom. On my side of things, I'm like watching a lot of instructors going through training for Zoom. If you guys love Zoom and that ends up working for us better, I'm happy to switch over to it. I've been doing trainings for it as well. But I thought since this is probably a lot of your first class to start the day, something easy, like something that you all already have on your phones likely might have been a good way to go. But we will see what everybody thinks in the coming days as we start to experiment. So my question for you all is, did the new updated syllabus look like it is going to work for everyone? Is there any concerns? If there are any concerns, you can put them in the comments as well, and I can read them as they come in. Okay, Anuna, good question. So I'm going to give everyone a second to write in any questions that you have and any feedback on the updated syllabus if you have any for me right now. I'm writing them down so I can answer them in a little bit. Okay, thanks for your question, Kenza. Got it. Yeah, this does feel weird. I agree, Anuna. Oh, Devorah's here. Michael's here on YouTube. Hi. Can you see? Okay, so since I'm not getting questions right now, I'll start answering Anuna and Kinza's questions about the historiography assignment. Um, so Anuna asked if the historiography is more evidence-based, not so much your opinions. And the one thing that I want us to keep in mind is that, and this answers Kinza's question, the historiography essay will be a larger chunk. Hi, Isa. Thanks for coming. The historiography chunk of the historiography essay will be a chunk of the larger paper. So while it's not very opinions based, you will be assessing the sources that you select for their argument, for who the scholar is that wrote the piece that you picked, and putting them in conversation with each other, that will eventually fit into the large 15-page paper. So if the historiography essay that you write is 3 to 5 pages long, that will already take up about a third or less of the larger paper. So even though we're going to write the essay now, it might shift slightly as you place it within the larger paper that's not due until May. So we can consider this historiography essay almost like a first draft that will be situated within the broader paper later on. So as we're writing the historiography paper, we're trying to keep in mind that the larger paper is focused on a deep dive into both the history and the memory of the one topic that you all have settled on now. So I envision these papers as having an opening introduction, kind of grounding us in the topic that you've selected. And then the historiography section will go in pretty soon after the introduction. So you will be discussing the ways that historians and other scholars potentially have discussed the specific topic that you all are focusing on. So, for example, if we were talking about, let me think. So if you were talking about Native American memory and we selected the Hawley article that we read in class as an example, you could say Nathaniel Hawley writes in his article, mounds, he argues this and state his thesis. Then you'll be putting 2 to 3 other sources in conversation with the Hawley article. So that historiography section will cover what a handful of historians or scholars have said on that topic. Soon after that will be the next assignment that you'll submit a couple weeks later, the contemporary coverage assignment. And the way that I'm envisioning that piece is being pretty similar to how you all have written those case study cluster essays, but you'll be situating it behind the historiography section. So this is what the historians are saying at a scholarly academic level. This is some contemporary news coverage of this topic. And then you'll have a little bit of room to describe, and this is maybe the more fun section, you can find movies that address what you all are researching. So if you did something on Native American memory, you could find some popular film that depicts Native Americans in a certain way and discuss how that contributes to silences or memory or other things like that. The news coverage is pretty current, Isa. So it would be like, for example, if you did something on the memory of slavery and its legacies, you could include something like the 1619 Project in that contemporary coverage assignment. So it can be certain projects that are serving to memorialize the history of what you're researching, or this could also be a time to cover ways that these things are not memorialized in the public. So like when we did the case study on Portugal, and there was kind of this current sense of discussion about whether or not there was going to be the Museum of Discovery or a memorial for Portuguese involvement in the Atlantic slave trade. Those are the sorts of things you can build into that contemporary coverage section. So ultimately, I envision this as being something where you are incorporating all these different levels of history that we've talked about in class so far in one paper. So historians, scholarly level, public remembrance or public memorialization. And for some of you, there might be a lack of public memorials or remembrance. So that could be something that's fair game to discuss. And then with the extra room that you have, you can discuss certain, maybe like fictionalized versions of this topic and how that contributes to the public's memory or how they think about that topic today. So some of you may run into a lack of representation of those issues, for example. That would be something that is completely worthy of discussing within the paper itself. But I know, like, Raymond, for example, is looking into the lost cause issue. So Raymond could pick something like a few specific Confederate monuments that speak to what he is trying to cover in the paper. So right now, we're building the puzzle pieces that will ultimately build into that final draft. And on the updated syllabus, I wrote it on Blackboard, but there are different due dates now. And there still is an optional draft deadline. And so that way we can turn in a draft and iron out putting these puzzle pieces together and how to make them flow smoothly once we have all of the pieces written ahead of time. So the optional draft deadline is now May 7th. So in that draft, you can incorporate the two pieces that you've written previously, and you'll basically almost be to the page limit, and you can fill it in ways to smooth it out and make it more readable as one coherent piece. So ultimately, in the final paper, you will be making an argument. You will have a thesis of your own. But we might not quite know what that overall thesis is until we've written each of these puzzle pieces. So I think the historiography is a good way to ease us into what other historians are saying about the topic so that you are able to be confident in making your own thesis about both the history and the memory of the topic that you've selected. So, question for you all. And I'll give you a couple minutes of me not talking to type in some answers, but have any of you looked into secondary sources before all of this craziness hit? If you haven't, that's okay. But if you have found some secondary sources, type up whether they are books or articles, just so I can get a sense of where you guys are at. If you haven't found anything yet, type that up too. I'm just curious to see where you're at. Okay, Isa says only a couple. Okay, primary sources. Okay. Devora found some articles. Okay, very good. So Isa, those primary sources that you found could probably be situated in the contemporary coverage, depending on what year they're coming from. That could be an interesting way to bring those things together in the paper. In Kinza, unfortunately, we never got to have our office hours meeting. So if you want to schedule virtual office hours to talk about sources, We can do that sometime soon, by the way. And Devora, if you want to send me the articles that you found, I would be happy to look at them and see what you're finding. Oh, Michael, I'm sorry to hear your job is gone. If you need help finding the secondary sources, I'll be happy to help too. Also, I'll just pause to say this is totally bizarre interacting with you guys this way. If we find that we prefer Zoom, I know a lot of you are being trained in how to use Zoom. I'm happy to be flexible in switching over to that platform instead of this. But we'll see how we feel. We can do the first class this way and see if we want to switch to something else. Okay, Kins, I'll be on the lookout for an email. Okay, and Anuna, you can email me and ask me about whether or not that's a primary source or a secondary source. Okay, Raymond's still researching. Well, now we have some time to research. Historiography essay's not due until April 2nd now. Yeah, so that's plenty of time. Okay, Marganese found a museum. That's great. Okay. Has anyone who's here, anyone watching right now, has any of your professors decided to use WebEx as the platform for online teaching? Okay. I did a test run of something called WebEx. That's what the Graduate Center has recommended that we use. My question for you all is, if whether it's Zoom or something else, would it feel a little more natural? Okay, no WebEx, nobody has been doing WebEx. Would it feel, here's an idea that I had. Since our class is it's about 26 people, there's a couple that really never show up. I think it would be quite difficult to have 25 people. The technology allows for 25 people to be in the same group at once. I'm tinkering with some ideas about maybe breaking into smaller groups in order to still foster discussion from the online route. And I would think that would mean splitting the class in two and having a certain group of people interact with me from 9:30 till the middle point, and then from that point until 10:45. Would you guys rather have a virtual in-person discussion? Because this route will be more of me lecturing, which is not how our class has been run so far. So would you be interested in doing kind of like a group discussion where we might break the class down? Okay. Devora says we could try it. Isa said she'd be okay with it. My sister just joined on Instagram. Good morning, Gina. Yeah, Raymond, that's why I shied away from WebEx because I wanted it to be mobile friendly. Um, I will look into whether or not we can use it on mobile devices and let you all know. Yeah, this will be you'll probably all meet my partner at some point or another because I'm with him now. Yes, of course you could use the restroom. Um, yeah, this is going to be weird for a little while. I also am not. I'm not so sure about the other question for you all is would you rather have our classes, the words are synchronous or asynchronous. So the question for you is would you rather have class at the same time that we usually do it, so 9:30, or I guess if we're doing a group discussion, that would be the way we go. But would you like to have an option where we don't have to meet at a certain time? Do you feel strongly one way or another about meeting at 9:30 or not? Okay, 9:30. I think okay, so everybody's saying 9:30 and I totally agree with that. So we can stick with 9:30. The reason I chose YouTube and Instagram originally is because if someone for some reason couldn't see it, this will record our discussions and someone can listen later on if it comes to that. Okay, everybody who's here is saying 9:30 and I totally agree. So we will stick with that. Um, I think what I am going to do quickly is I have a WebEx account. I'm going to open it up right now and see what that looks like and if we can do it on our phones quickly. Um, in the meantime, if anyone has any more questions or pieces of feedback, you can type them up, but I'm just going to need about 5 minutes to look into this really quick. If you have no questions, you can type no questions as well. Oh, Olivia, good catch. That's a mistake. I'll update that one more time. Okay, Nuna, that's a good question. I think we can try. Um, I think we can try loading us all up into one. Okay, Devora and Michael are good for now. Okay, question for those of you who are here with me today. Is anyone ready to be on camera right now? Because there's a way on Instagram that one of you can join me. I wanted to test that out and see how that would work. Can anyone request to join me on the live stream on Instagram and we see how it looks? Hi, Joanna. Ooh, nobody's camera ready. Everyone's probably still laying in bed, and that's also why I chose Instagram. But there is a feature on the Instagram live that one person at a time can join me. So I was thinking I could ask when we're in a real class session online, I can ask a question and then someone can request to join the live stream with me and answer the question. I'm tinkering with WebEx right now. Yeah. Okay. So last question for you guys for now. I think the best way to go is ask you one more thing and then probably log off for now, and then I'm going to work on WebEx. Would anyone be willing to test out a WebEx meeting later, like in a couple minutes, if we hang up um, on this platform and switch over to WebEx? All that would happen would be I would send you an invitation link, um, and you would be on camera in this case, and we could see how that looked. Okay, so Michael, I'll just use the emails that I have for you and see how it goes. I think it would have to be on your laptop and not your phone for now, but I'll see if I can find a way for us to use it on our phone if it comes to that. I'm also happy to do a hybrid of two things at once. I have my phone set up and I have my laptop set up. So I can always do WebEx on my laptop and still do Instagram on my phone. And that gives us a way to record the session. I can record the session on WebEx as well, but I think it would be a little hard for me to upload them to Blackboard since it'll be such a large thing. Okay. Okay. Anyone else up for a WebEx test run in just a couple minutes? If not, that's totally okay. Okay, Deborah. I'm sorry, people. I have family peeping in on our live stream. Okay, so people I haven't heard from, I won't invite you to the WebEx test run. I think for now, I'll wait a couple minutes and see if anyone has any final questions before we switch over to WebEx and give it a shot. The other thing that is available for us is Blackboard Collaborate. Other people who are teaching have had some luck with that. And we can give that a try as well. We will just hang tight and see how everything goes these next couple of days. And like I've said in my announcements, just stay flexible. So I think for now, I'll probably sign off and end these two live streams and invite the people who are interested in testing out WebEx to a preliminary meeting and see how it goes. Okay. My last question for you all. So on Thursday, what does your day look like? Are you meeting with, like, are you having class as normal? Will you be sitting in front of your laptop or phone or iPad for hours on end? I'm wondering how this online learning looks on your end. Okay, class as usual. Okay, Anuna, if it's only my class as usual, are the other ones relying on Blackboard discussion? Or are they recording their lectures and posting them for you all later? Hi, Stephanie. Oh, Isa. That's not good. I hope you hear from them soon. Okay. Yeah, I'm a little concerned, like, we all look at our screens all day, but now we're all literally going to be on our computers for hours and hours on end. So protect your eyes. Okay, so a number of you have professors who haven't really filled you in. Okay. 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 So it sounds like a lot of people, the professor is still ironing out um, how they will do this. I'll just acknowledge this is super weird, and I appreciate you all being here today and seeing if this will work or not. I think probably some sort of hybrid um, option might be the best way to go. So we have um, multiple routes towards communicating with each other. Okay. However, the one thing obviously that will stay in place is the Blackboard reading questions. So be sure to continue to post those. Obviously, for the ones the readings that we'll be talking about on Thursday, the reading questions are due Wednesday at 11:59 p.m. 3 people have uploaded there already, but if you haven't done so already, let's just try to get back on track with our readings at the very least as we figure out the ways that we're going to communicate with each other. I do think finding a way to have you all participate would be wonderful. But I also realize that that comes with its pros and cons as well. Oh, since I have you all here, last question. Are the Blackboard updates working well for you all? Do you want more updates, or has it been all right? Is that a good way for us to communicate? Yes. Okay. Michael, classes resume on, I think classes resume tomorrow, but ours resumes on Thursday. Blackboard updates are fine. They're working. Okay. Okay, great. Okay. So Blackboard's working for everyone. Thank you all for your responsiveness. It really helps me out to be able to hear from you and hear what works for you. I want to be able to make this work as effectively as possible, for you all to get the most out of this. I'm pretty sure some of you are saying classes resume Monday, but I'm pretty sure they resume on the 19th. Let me look at my records. The instructional recess lasts until tomorrow. So I'm on the Brooklyn College website. The instructional recess started March 12th and ends March 18th. So our first class together will be Thursday. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, so Thursday will be our first class. Hi, Kate. So the people that are joining the live stream that aren't a part of our class are other people who are trying out this online learning format, and seeing what will work best for them as well. Everyone is trying all these different routes and being trained on various platforms. I've taken part in a couple of test runs on the different platforms, and we'll also be hearing back soon from the first round of classes on Thursday how everything works for everyone. And we'll just be willing to adapt as we move along. Okay, so last call for questions from you all before we hang up for today. I'll wait like 2 minutes to see if questions are popping up. If not, I'm going to go ahead and hang up and invite Michael, Raymond, Anuna, Devora to a WebEx meeting to see if it works on an iPad and to see if it works on a phone, and also just to see how we feel about the platform. So Anuna, right. So on Thursday, we will start off on YouTube Live and Instagram Live. Once everyone, the fuller class comes, and we see how this works, and I'm delivering a lecture to you all, if we don't like it and we really miss the discussion format, we will make a switch to one of the other platforms. The other thing that I think is useful about the Instagram platform is, like I said earlier, I can ask a question and someone can pop in and join the live stream. I'm curious to see how that will work. Um, that would kind of mimic the way that we've been doing class, but if not everyone is comfortable with doing it in that way, we can certainly try out a different platform. So it'll be an entry point in this style on Thursday, and then if we make a switch from there, then I will announce that again on Blackboard. So the main takeaways from this preliminary test run is that we will continue working on the historiography essay. That is, we can envision it as a puzzle piece in the larger paper that's not due until May. So please be looking out for secondary sources that you'll be using for that piece. If anyone has questions or needs help, please email me. Make sure to make use of Google Books. If you can't, now that we can't access the library, if there's a book that's not available as an ebook, you can use Google Books. If you need other help finding sources without a library, let me know. If anyone needs to send a draft of the historiography essay, I'm open to that now that we've moved the deadline back. So that's the first thing, preparing for the historiography essay. The second thing is I will revise the typo on the syllabus with the repeated dates that Olivia brought to my attention. And I will delete the copy of the syllabus that's up on Blackboard now and re-upload it soon once that is complete. The other thing is that we are going to test out a WebEx meeting with Michael, Raymond, Anuna, and Devora and see how that works. Fourth thing is that we have our first class on Thursday. We're going to try it out this way. We'll be talking about the Ed Linenthal reading that is posted on Blackboard, and we'll be talking about the Elie Wiesel, the report to the president about the Holocaust Commission. That's a primary source, so make sure to read it as a primary source and not a secondary source. And questions will be due on Blackboard at 11:59 p.m. tomorrow. Be sure to upload your questions because I will incorporate them. If this is more lecture format, I'll be working to incorporate them into the lecture as I prepare for Thursday. Okay, Isa, I will also test out, I've also taken part in some trainings for Zoom. So I'm going to test WebEx because that's what the Grad Center has recommended. But if Zoom seems better, and once I hear back from other people who are doing this online learning format, if they like Zoom a lot, then we can make the switch to that. But I'll just be collecting information from everyone who's using the multiple platforms. And I'll make a call after Thursday's class, which way we're going to go. Okay, so there's our 4 takeaways. As always, email me if you have questions. This is going to be a little funky for a while, a bumpy ride, but I know you all are adaptable and will be able to make it work. Just email me. Also, if you want to schedule virtual office hours, I'm also flexible on which platform works best for you. If you want to have a face-to-face interaction, we can do Skype or Google Hangouts. Also, for some people, it's easiest just to talk by phone. So if that's easiest for you and would be most convenient, just email me and we can set up a time. I would prefer to do office hours on Tuesday, Thursday, just because that's when our class typically is. But if somebody needs to do one outside of those days, I'm happy to accommodate that as well. And I'm sure as you continue researching for the historiography paper, more questions will pop up. Okay, so everybody who's still here, send me one last no questions or I'm all good, and then I'll sign off for the day. Or if you have more questions, you can ask one. Okay. Okay, so good to hear from you guys. I'm glad you're all feeling good. If you have questions, as always, let me know. I hope you hear from your other professors soon. Just know everyone's working diligently on figuring out how they're going to figure this not so good situation out. So be patient with them as best you can. Be patient with me, please, because I'm going to figure out what's best for us as well. But I will see you all for sure on Thursday, and I'm looking forward to reading all of your reading questions. I'm super, super interested to hear what you all have to say about these readings. So I'm sure we're all distracted and tired and stressed out, but do your best to engage with these readings like we have been this whole semester, because I can't wait to hear what you all think. Okay, and with that, I will sign off, and I'll hear from you all soon. Okay, bye.